People keep asking me why I don't read more indie books, and honestly, the answer, more often than not, aside from the fact that I do read indie books, is the indie authors have a bunch of red flags. And today I thought I'd go through a top 5 list. Because, it's YouTube, and that's good content. And I think I might surprise some people with my takes today. Uh, One thing I have tried to do here is these are things that can be fixed. So, without further ado, I would drum roll, but who actually wants to listen to a drum roll? Not necessarily in order, but I'm going to start with front matter. Now, you might ask me, James, what the hell is front matter? It's not prologues. I'm actually totally fine with prologues. I use them myself. Front matter is the stuff in front of the story. Now, that could be things like your copyright, your table of contents, if you feel like you need that, although don't be like me, don't accidentally have spoilers in your table of contents. It could be a dedication, that's fine. It's a problem when someone is like, say, inserting a political rant, oh my gosh, don't read this book if you're easily traumatized leftist or something, or say, a glossary. Don't put something in front of the story that is treated as mandatory reading, unless you are part of the Western canon with hundreds of years of study between now and when it was written, and maybe there is justification for like an academic writing in some history of the story, the author, the impact it's had. Maybe there's justification for that, but just because you can find that in, say, Frankenstein or Vathek as two recent examples that you can find on my channel, does not mean that a new indie author should have the gall to waste the reader's time. Because that's what's really happening. The reader bought the book to get the book. It's a story. They want the story. And if you put something between them opening the book and the story, they're going to get annoyed. You're wasting their time. You're making them study in order to enjoy a story they paid money for. Which is just a bad idea, particularly with the way that Look Inside works on Amazon. If they click to look inside, they will get less of the story presented to them because they had to read through, say, a glossary instead about terms about a world that they don't care about yet. So obviously there's a couple things that a inadvised or poorly advised author might put in front, and there's different reasons that they would do that. But generally speaking, it's just a bad move. Don't do that, in my opinion. Apparently, I need to remind people of this, that on my channel, I give my opinions. I'm not God himself ordaining wisdom. But for me, that's a red flag. So is no social media. You may have noticed this if you watch my streams. I bring people on with no social media or minimal social media. I know a lot of people in private who are like aspiring to be authors, but they don't have a Twitter account. They don't have an Instagram. They don't have Facebook. They don't have a YouTube. They have nothing. And the thing is that, like, you don't need to do all of them. I don't do all of them. But you have to do something. A Twitter account, in a lot of ways, is a modern mailing list. Because no one really wants emails anymore. But, like, okay, you can get banned off Twitter somehow if you decide to go picking fights with people. And you can't get banned off a mailing list, except for the fact that the European Union keeps passing anti-spam laws that you need to be a lawyer to understand sometimes. But realistically, you need to be doing something such that if you do write something good and people want to read more of your stuff, they want to know when that's available. There's lots of ways to do that. And when an author is just like doing nothing, they're kind of a waste of time to talk to in a lot of ways, is the honest opinion. Like, you can't grow realistically in the current era if people can't follow you for updates. Like, people will want to support authors they like, but if you make it impossible, what are they going to do? They're going to move on. And it's not hard to manage a social media account. You don't need to post 17 times a day, although you might get addicted and do that, but you gotta do something. Obviously, I only meet some authors, usually in like Discord or Guilded servers, that don't have social medias. And when I find that out, I'm just like, bro, I'll be polite about it, but I'm not reading their stuff. What's the point? 3 was inspired by movies. Now, if you watched, say, my discussion on Dark Harvest, a book that desperately wanted to be an action movie, that's more of an okay thing. Oh, I'm not. That's not even in frame. I'm a wonderful YouTuber. Critical Drinker, Will Jordan, knew he was writing a book, but he just consumes too many movies, and he wrote a movie in page form. But there are other people that will openly say, yeah, I write books because I'd really like to make movies, but I don't have millions of dollars. So instead I'm just going to write books, even though I don't read. Literature, cinematography, video games, comics, music, they're all different mediums. They all have different nuances, different strengths, that people interact with them differently. And you shouldn't say that one is superior to another. They're different. But because it's cheap, people with low resources gravitate towards literature because, for example, they think, oh, anyone can write. Even though they know that not everyone can draw. It takes years and years and years of practice to draw well. As if it doesn't take lots of practice to write well, right? So they find themselves, for example, really upset with the way Disney is handling movies lately, and they go, oh, I can do better, and they just dash out their first novel and then put it up for sale. And sometimes they do really dumb things like charge $10 for an ebook. I've seen. If you should be inspired by books to write books, because there are things that, if you try to recreate Star Wars in literature format, it's not going to work. Because Star Wars, for example, really relies on the visual aesthetic, the choreography, the fight sequences don't translate well to writing. And you know what? Chat, this isn't live. Viewer, please, if you've read the Extended Universe and you think I'm wrong, let me know what books from the now decanonized Extended Universe prove me wrong, and maybe I'll check them out. Because I know that there are a lot of books from Star Wars that work well. I just don't think that they are, or I suspect they aren't like the movies. Because books are different. Simple as. Alright, so that is red flag number 3. You should be inspired by books. You should want to write books. But 2, worshiping editors. Now, this one is going to be the controversial one. But when I explain this, I think you'll understand what I mean. A writer creates a product, and it's going to have imperfections unless they are already a master of the craft, in which case they shouldn't be talking to me. They're not going to be in any, they're going to be successful. But I'm just assuming that everyone listening in discussion here is rough. Developing quality. I am. And there are editors that can help. They can point out issues. They can improve flow. They can find the author's blind spots. And some people need copy editors because they can't handle punctuation, even though they're supposed to be a functioning adult. So I'm not knocking editors per se. But the problem is that editors polish. That's realistically what they do. They do not rewrite the book. Which I've seen a lot of editors on Twitter, in person, in Discord servers complain about the fact that they get given hunks of crap and just told, well, you're an editor, I'm paying you to fix it, which it would be treating them as a ghostwriter instead. Different jobs. Editors polish. They take the manuscript and they make it a bit better, and not even particularly much. Now, I've discussed this in other critiques and analyses that one small flaw can harm a lot of good things and make good aspects bad because of that flaw. And it doesn't take much to fix these things sometimes. An editor can fix that. But it's just a polish pass. If you're polishing a turd, you're still going to have a turd in the end. That's basically what happened with, say, Shadow the Conqueror. It went through phenomenal editing. There's nothing wrong on the prose level in that book. The problems with that book were structural. They were entirely in the author's hands. The things that he was intending to do were bad. Because he wrote a complete Mary Sue. on this ridiculous wish fulfillment power fantasy of jamming in weird politics and poorly thought out redemption. The editors have no hand in fixing that. Okay, that's to the author. Just think about it. Whoever has read a good book and gone, oh my God, this editor did such a good job. No, you say the writer did a good job. If the editor has that much of a hand in the final product, why are they editing? Give me the editor's book. I'll read their book instead. The author is fundamentally responsible for the quality of the product. The editor just helps a bit. It is not the be-all, end-all, get on your knees and grovel at editors that help you fix your product. They're really not that important. Like, yes, there are developmental editors that will make the author better, but that's a back and forth process that fundamentally, at the end of it, that author should be able to go write another book at the quality that they just got to, or they learned nothing. And not to mention, good editors are expensive. They are easily as expensive as the cover artist, if not more. And because they know that they are a good editor is a rare skill, and they charge accordingly. I've seen way too many people, less so nowadays, but I used to see it a lot, that just are like, oh my God, I can never write a book without my editor to save me from my own mistakes. Why would I want to read that book? Okay? Now, I actually dare you, if you're an editor reading or listening to this right now, disagree with me. I dare you. I'm pretty sure you agree with me, don't you? I don't think any editor enjoys getting handed a broken piece of crap and a small amount of money and said, here, turn this into a bestseller, please. Doesn't work like that. Likewise, readers really need to rethink the relationship of a writer and whether they have an editor or not. You notice a copy editor. No one is going to notice whether or not there's a developmental editor, but developmental editor is the one that actually improves the story, maybe. Copy editors just fix typos. So, there's my rant there. And obviously that's a rant because I don't pay for editors normally. I've worked with editors. I don't like working with them. But number one is the big one. Any creator, any author, any comic guy who doesn't have the time to consume in their own medium, why would I ever think that they have time to create a quality product? Oh, but James, I read a lot before. Reading as a consumer is different from reading critically as a creator. Studying is part of the process. That's why I started book review channels, because I had to read these books anyways. And I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try and engage with the audience a bit. I'm going to try and get my name out there some more, doing something I have to do anyways. This isn't a channel about cooking and exercise or something, because that doesn't relate, even though I do cook and I do work out. I view it as necessary to read and study and think and read up on things. And it's not just craft books. I'll probably have to do another top 5 of this does fine about other gripes I have with indie authors. But if you don't have time to read, to study, to learn and understand, why would I think you have time to make any good products? Maybe you do have the time, you're just assigning it wrong. Why would I think that the product you've created is any good? So that is why I actually started my book club. It's because I wanted to encourage mostly other indie authors to fucking read books, and read good books specifically. Hopefully, at least I hope I've chosen good picks. It makes the product better. And if I find out that someone basically just watched Star Wars and then went and wrote their own space opera inspired by it, zero trust. Maybe it is good. Red flags are not proof that they've created a bad product. But holy crap, why would I think that that is a good product worth my money and time? So, this is my top 5 reasons. I bet you thought I was going to talk about info dumping. Everyone always says, oh, info dumping, or purple prose, or exposition, or typos. Those are different. Those are over-discussed. B, I think they're an overblown issue. So I hope these 5 things are things that if you're a creator, you can go fix, because I think you should. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And jump in the book club. There is a link to the Gilded in the description. Till then, drop a like. Cheers. Buy my book. Thanks. Cheers.